The Ethics and Medical Registration Board of the National Medical Commission has issued guidelines on 26th July 2025 to regulate the conduct and broadcasting of live surgeries. These guidelines are currently in force. All doctors and hospitals are expected to follow them. The fact that these guidelines were drafted under the direction of the Honorable Supreme Court or that the main petition is still pending is simply irrelevant. In future, while hearing and disposing of this petition, if the Supreme Court suggests changes or rules that these guidelines are inappropriate, they may become invalid. However, until then, they remain in force and must be followed. A few articles have appeared in the media suggesting that there is a blanket ban on live surgeries. This is not the correct position. Live surgeries are permitted under these guidelines, but only under certain conditions. However, the preference seems to be for recorded videos instead of live telecast. The guidelines are well drafted, balanced, and have taken into account the concern of all stakeholders. The regulator certainly deserves praise for its efforts. The regulator has considered the importance of these live broadcasts in educating doctors and has acknowledged that this practice is a part and parcel of teaching since surgical practice started. Surgeries that were previously available only at a few top hospitals are now common even in Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns. Ethical issues, the anxiety, discomfort, and risks faced by patients, and the commercial exploitation where patients were used as models to fulfill ulterior motives has also been taken into account. Let us look into a few features of these guidelines. Live telecast can only be for educational purposes. No commerce should be involved. Live broadcast is permissible for new procedures, whereas edited recordings must be preferred for established procedures, for high-risk cases, and for surgeries with high potential for complications. Hospitals, surgeons, companies, brands must not use it for their own promotion or glorification. Next, very important, patients should not be charged for either the surgery or the implants or medications or disposables, and not even for post-surgery complications. Insurance coverage is mandatory for all such surgeries and must cover both the risks of surgery and the complications. The patient's identity must be kept confidential, ethical guidelines and data privacy regulations must be followed. Another important aspect, the unedited recordings of each surgery must be preserved for at least 2 years if there are no legal problems, or otherwise till the legal problem is resolved and closed amicably. Prior permission is mandatory. It must be taken from the regulatory body, that is the State Medical Council, from the Medical Association, and in appropriate cases from the institution, especially in case of public hospitals and medical colleges. Surgeries performed by foreign doctors can be broadcasted live, but only after getting temporary permission from the Ethics and Medical Registration Board of NMC and also the concerned State Medical Council. One noteworthy direction is given to medical societies in these guidelines. They must develop further regulations on this aspect of medical practice. Societies of surgeons, especially the larger ones, such as the Associations of Surgeons of India and the Indian Orthopedic Association, must take a cue and work further in this direction. There is one big exception. Live telecast by educational institutions for their own students and doctors is not covered under these guidelines for obvious reasons. As far as the operating surgeons are concerned, they should have 5 years of experience after their specialty certification. They should have no financial or commercial interest in the equipment or device used, and they must avoid personal glorification at all cost. On the other hand, hospitals should be accredited. They must have essential infrastructure and equipment for both the surgery as well as the complication. They must have a contingency plan in place for common complications, and the head of the hospital or the institution would be responsible for inspection and screening. A few stipulations are laid down to select the patient. Live telecast must be avoided for high-risk procedures in cases where investigations are incomplete or the patient is with unusual anatomy. The patient must not be financially incentivized for participation. Explicit, informed, written consent must be taken, and the patient must be informed of his or her right to withdraw consent at any point in time. While performing surgery, the operating surgeon should not interact with the audience. No two-way communication, but stepwise live commentary can be given. A moderator can provide commentary separate from the live feed. The surgeon has to follow professional and ethical standards, prioritize patient welfare, and must be involved with every aspect of surgery, such as pre-operative workup, pre-anesthesia checkup, and post-operative care, at least for the next 24 hours after the surgery. All in all, the regulator has taken a well-balanced approach that considers conflicting interests and today's reality. Thank you.